You want to talk about building trust in your team. Every time he told them something was going to happen, it happened. And he put himself out there for some ridicule. He can't look. They went on the road and lost to Detroit and fell to like 3-5, soon to be 3-6, and they got just, reamed. They weren't even competitive. And he went in front of his team and then in front of the media and said, "This is a one-off. I'm not worried about it." Pretty bold, being 2 or 3 or 4 games under 500 and convincing your team first, and then it proves right.
Welcome back to another episode of Straight Down the Middle-ish. We're joined by a local legend and really one of the biggest influences on Straight Down the Middle-ish.
You've been part of my life, dude, for like 15 years. You don't even know it.
We're like stepbrothers.
No idea.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Did we just become best friends? Did that just happen?
We got 1010 XL 92.5s. Jeff Prosser joining us today. Before we started this little intro, we were talking about kind of the new schedule we might be seeing with the PGA Tour going forward, and how the players had been moved from May to March, and how's this schedule going to shake out? Is the PGA going to stay in May?
I think it is. As far as I know, the hiccup last year was in Rochester in May it was already decided it was going there before they did the flop, so they just kind of have to deal with it for 1 year. But I think going forward, it will stay. We were talking about courses in the area, Jeff and I, and it's just a rough time of year here. Everywhere's punching. A lot of the places that overseed, the transition is brutal, and I think you're going to see TPC one day give up the overseed, give up the green look.
Is overseed strictly for the
Resort.
optics?
Yes.
So the health of the golf course might even be better if they didn't do it. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Well, then why they do it strictly for the optics then, all over town?
A lot of resorts do it. And I mean, TPC is like crown jewel.
Augusta National. I mean, they overseed, don't they?
Everywhere does. Florida, the whole Florida swing is overseeded.
Sure.
I mean, people think, a lot of guys in the Florida swing have an advantage because it's Bermuda. Well, that's not really the case, because when we come through, the rough's overseeded, the greens are overseeded. It does change it a little bit. You still have that Bermuda structure.
Even when they let it go dormant, they do something to the greens, right? Or do they let those go dormant also?
No, those are dormant.
So the whole look of the golf course would be kind of yellowish brown?
Yeah, but it's like March, and March around here, everywhere is primo that doesn't overseed. It's like as good as it gets.
From a playing standpoint, but not from a look standpoint.
Yes, I think we're going to see.
Good luck broadcasting that thing to the world, brown.
I think it would work, man. I really do. I think it would. The course would play a lot different. The greens, the slopes would be a lot. You could use them more. Balls will start working their way down more. That overseed can get a little sticky. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like fast Bermuda.
Remember the old days of watching the British Open, and it was always brown, and it was before HDTV. You could barely follow the ball. The wind would be blowing. You can't see a thing. Remember that?
Apparently, we're in
BBC.
store. We're in store for one this year. They've had a really dry summer over there.
Where are we at? Liverpool this year?
Liverpool, yeah. But the brown I'm talking about in March, when it gets real crusty, like you can't even lean on your putter. It'll just
slippery.
Yeah,
You'll eat it if you do.
I've had a couple.
Well, that'd make for some interesting TV viewing too. We've lost Ricky. He's in the pond on 13.
Who do you like at the British this year?
I kind of like your boy. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's that?
Your live friend, Cam.
Siwoo? Oh, Cam.
Yeah.
Defend.
Siwoo. This guy is on a Siwoo kick like you wouldn't believe.
There's fan club.
It's not a kick. It's not a kick.
It's not. Okay. It's part of your fiber.
It's part of it. Yeah. Take it or leave it.
You know what's funny too? He texted me about Siwoo Kim as I was getting ready to travel. And I turned on the TV the next day, and Tom Kim is going off. And why am I just realizing those two jokers look like they could be brothers?
You think?
I think they do. I think they look. They both got that little like the gut, but it's like a hard looking gut. Yeah. They both have that, right? So they waddle onto and off of the greens.
They both have great personalities too.
So I thought your guy was going off, and then I learned that
Siwoo played well. Last week. I mean, he was in the this year's U.S. Open was just odd, and like you could go. It was like an elevator. What? Yeah, it was kind of circusy, wasn't it? It was a miss for me.
Yeah, I wondered. I mean, do you lose that next time in like 30 whatever when they're supposed to bring it back?
39.
There's
39?
Yeah.
Well, that's a long way, but it'll be here, won't it?
Yeah.
I think the whole play to the angles thing.
Have you played that golf course?
No.
They trumped up that course big time. I mean, they were trying to make that course the star, and then they went out and absolutely destroyed
You tell
it.
me this, Matty. It seems odd to me that the same golf tournament can yield 2 62s and a 63.
It almost feels like it shouldn't count.
But at the same time, you can make an 8 on a par 4. Those things don't seem like they should mix. That seems kind of
No, it happens
tricked
everywhere.
to me. It
happens
doesn't
everywhere.
matter where.
Yeah.
Dustin Johnson's making a lot of 8s, is he? When's the last time that dude made an 8 on a par 4, honestly?
Remember the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach when he had that big lead and made
Oh,
what did he
God,
make a
what
quad
a terrible
on
final
two?
round that
God,
was.
yeah.
And
right?
he
I
went
forgot
lefty
about
on the chip on the second hole.
Yeah. Oof. Was the second the one where he blew it out of bounds to the right?
I don't know, but I
Yeah, it was
remember up by
ugly.
the green he tried to go lefty. I don't
Man,
know.
Dustin
I see
makes
what you're saying.
some sweet tea dumb decisions through the course of the years, doesn't he? Huh?
That's part of the deal, man.
Let's get
That's
old
why
Southern
he's so
sweet
good.
tea dumb. Let's just ground the club in the bunker. Let's
Well, that was a raw deal
just.
there.
I guess.
That was I couldn't believe how he handled that so well.
That might have been the same year he lost at Pebble. He came back just a month later or 2
Was
months
it the
later.
same deal? It was
Yeah.
close to it. If it wasn't that year, it was
What a
within,
resilient player.
within a year.
One of
That Whistling Straits has come a long way since then. They just kind of opened the top on it that year, and it seems like there's something there all the time now.
yeah.
Y'all done that? Have you done that
I
trip?
have.
I have not.
Yeah, that's one you need to do.
I played in the PGA there.
Yeah.
That Dustin.
I'm like more from like a golf trip standpoint. Go up, you play Whistling and Irish and the 2 Black Wolf runs and free pub.
I think I would go to the Upper Peninsula before.
We did that one year too. That's
How was
also
that?
fun.
I haven't been there, but
like
I
Arcadia
wanna do it.
Bluffs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Grand Traverse and those. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a big golf trip guy. You
Love a golf trip,
you
man.
line these up every
How many
year.
you get a year? Over under 1.5.
Ooh, that's a good number. Yeah, you could go out to Vegas and set the college football lines. Yeah, that's a good number. That's going to hit under some years and over some years.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what's disappeared. The ones that I just referenced, we did with a big group with Baselli and some other friends. And so we take 12, 16 guys, and we did Pinehurst, we did Whistling, we did Traverse and Arcadia. We did, some high stature places. And that thing has kind of died off. So now I'm more back in the, just do a quick two-day, 3-round kind of, stream song or, something around. So
You could do Pinehurst. It's close.
you could do Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a buddy up there now. And we did do Pinehurst, and we played more of the surround, Pine Needles and some of the other ones even more than the Pinehurst courses.
That's where the Open is next year, Pinehurst.
I think two is the championship course, right? I think it was closed when we were there.
Oh, that's a bummer.
They played like 8. I don't know the specifics of the
I got to qualify for that one. It'll be my 3rd U.S. Open at Pinehurst if I make it.
for next year.
Yeah.
How much golf are you playing?
Well, dude, I did like a month straight of TV.
I understand that.
And then now I'm playing. Like I've been practicing the last couple of days. I might get in the.
Are we practicing? Like practicing.
Yeah, bro.
Like grind practicing.
I'm grinding.
Good. I like it. I like to hear it. Worry about you sometimes.
Grinding on a lot of things. Yeah, my body. I'm trying to just. I want to like.
You look terrific. I mean,
Thanks.
the hair is just. It's world class hair. It is.
Genetics.
You know it. Genetics.
It is. Yeah.
What was your background growing up? Like when you're were you country club kid?
Nah,
just
my
blue
best
collar
friend's
kid,
Dad.
Both.
My dad worked construction.
Yeah, okay.
My mom was a secretary.
My favorite kind of PGA golfer here.
Right.
I hate to say this, right? Because I love golf. I love watching golf. I love every level of golf. Some of my best friends are members of the best country clubs around town. But this narrative that has emerged over the last year of these poor oppressed golfers, and
Oh man.
I mean, we got kids we got guys on tour who the biggest impediment in their life was when the Dr. Pepper machine was out in the pro shop, right? And so to come to like this, this groundswell of
Poor
support,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Riding
Yeah.
around the Southeast in Escalades, with the $1,000 clubs playing any and every tournament you want to play.
Yeah.
If you make $1 million a year playing golf, kiss the ground you walk on, friend.
I totally hear what you're saying. John Rahm has actually had a good response to this. I think, with the whole live thing. He's like, look, I live a very privileged life.
Sure.
Like, who am I to sit here and complain about this? And that was really nice to hear.
Don't get me. I love country club golf. I love a lot of my great friends. Some of my best friends are country club members. I think they would say, let's back off a little bit of this, oppression that these golfers are facing, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Where's this all going to land, man?
Who knows, man? I don't think anyone knows anything.
Yeah.
Still, I know there was a player meeting yesterday, but
It's kind of hard when the boss isn't there for the player meeting.
yeah, and nobody
recent
really knows
player meeting.
what's going on with that either.
I'm not getting any answers there, so I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know. Getting back to your silver spoon, you asked about my
There's
background
right.
growing up.
See, I can appreciate those guys.
I think you'd be surprised.
There's more of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something to. I always tell people you never really find a tour player raised in that grew up in Palm Springs.
Yeah, I need that grit.
You have to have. I'll never forget moving here out of college. And it was pretty good. I'd go to TPC to practice, and like these cart guys were my buddies, and they would be like, "Oh, this kid here, he's so sick. He's 13," and I'm like, he's playing in this, and I'm like, "Does he practice here?" And he's like, "Yeah, his dad's a member." I'm like, "That kid's got no fucking chance."
Well,
dude.
you know
I
what?
mean, that kid's hitting pro V's at 13. There's no like hunger there. There's no.
In my mind, that's 80% of the tour, and you're telling me that's not inaccurate.
I don't think
It
so.
doesn't help when
How do
you
you
turn
think
on the
Dustin
U.S.
Johnson
Open
was
and I
raised?
got to see little Jordan and Justin eating a hot dog together.
That's different,
right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you there.
That's a harder sell on that.
But
I mean, I know
there's
where
guys like
Mickelson
Dustin
came
John-
from.
Dustin-
I mean, your man Mickelson in 2021 made $106 million in compensation, the 7th highest paid athlete in the world. So I can see why you need to go turn it over to a foreign entity. I can understand how times may have been tight. I mean, that's a hard one to buy, man.
That's a big tax bill too.
I don't know how it's going to shake out with the guys that want the whole equity thing now. Did Jay stick his foot in his mouth saying that? Like,
I don't know. I loved watching golf too much. I really don't give a
that's where I hope it all shakes out.
That's where I am, but I know I got friends that's not where they are.
I've heard the same.
It's a turnoff at some point, all this.
Yeah.
No matter which side you fall on.
Yeah.
And I think more than, and to my point, I think I get more frustrated with the vocal live supporters than I do the actual live golfers. Because those are the ones that I feel are trying to, hit you with this narrative of, how oppressed they were on the PGA Tour and just how
that went out the window pretty quick. I mean, that was the marching orders. Felt like they got handed a sheet of paper talking about spending more time with their family and
growing the game of golf. No, we're growing bank accounts
and playing less golf, making more money. That was a bad look right out of the gate.
I feel like
that got squashed.
They got the right guys though, because there really is don't give a f.
You had the right guys that were staying quiet.
Feeling there, invite with those guys, right?
Yeah,
like the DJs of the world. I mean, Cam Smith. They weren't getting on the mic and talking about all that.
Smart,
smart moves on both of their ends.
Yeah, and there's more. And Varner to take the honest approach.
Yes.
I'll never get this kind of money. This is life changing for me. So
yeah.
It's
wish
like,
you would.
And you can take him serious.
Yeah, and that's fine.
You can,
sure.
It's like who was it? Jason Giambi, who admitted to doing steroids, and like everybody was like, well, "Thank God for saying it."
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I like it.
Just don't lie to me.
Where are we? Let's shift to local a little bit.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get this stadium done
Championship? I think so.
Here?
Yeah, I do. I mean, what? Look, man.
Timing's everything.
And
I mean, we're lucky enough to have what we have right now as far as the organization. The stadium is going to have to get redone at some point, and it sucks to have it happen right now when we've got this what feels like about to be a peaking team.
Well, and but by the same token, it's a lot easier sell to ascertain the long-term future and sell a local community on the public part of financing it if you're winning.
Short term,
right? Go sell the taxpayers on giving up $1 billion if you're coming off a 2-15.
Yeah,
good luck with that. So that part will help. I think that your fan base gets big enough and it's enthusiastic enough that having to drive to Gainesville or Orlando or wherever it might be 6-8 times a year could be fun.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. If they did it in Gainesville, dude.
Sure.
I mean, there'd be some weekends.
What
over
you
there.
being a Daytona guy? Would it? How?
I don't know
would it
how
be
that's
cool
going
see
to
it
work
in there?
out. It would be cool to see like one game played there,
Yeah.
but I don't know how that's going to work out with the crowd. I mean, you're so far away from the action.
I think what they're going to do though is they'll push the field up to the track on one side. So that the stands there, you're probably not a whole lot further than you are, but then you're going to have to build stuff.
You can
on
only
the
view
other
on one
side.
side.
No, I think they'll build temporary on the other.
What do you think they're going to ultimately do? Like,
I'd say Gainesville or Orlando. I like 99% it'll be one of those two.
I would be very disappointed if it was Orlando.
For me, it's just because of middle finger. You Orlando, you guys have made fun of us and joked about it. No, all of a sudden you want them for a couple of years.
That place is the worst.
Not a big Orlando fan myself.
What about more games in London?
I don't think they will play more
for the league. They don't want to have to travel to see the Jaguars that many times, or
I think that if you are taking away a good team and you're trying to sell them on supporting a new stadium, I don't think you're going to take games that are an hour drive away and put them in London. I don't think they'll ever play 2 home games there. But to your point, it's a unique situation, so maybe they would. They're staying there 2 weeks this year, but one's a road game, so that doesn't count.
I used to hate it, and now I kind of see it. I like that the Jaguars have this root in another country, and it couldn't be a more fitting country than England with the Jaguars.
I personally, I did get in that 9:30 game once a year.
Yeah,
too.
same.
I like that too.
Have you done one of those trips?
I've not done the London trip. I've turned it down
Really?
once, and I'm not. Have you been?
Golf trip. Let's just do a guy's trip.
Now, I would definitely throw something like that
Let's
together. How fun would
parlay a
that
little
be?
golf and a little jazz.
Great time.
That would be, that'd be awesome.
Is this the most excited you've been going into a Jag season?
I've been here since the very first
yep.
season. So, I mean,
99.
yeah, coming off of that 99 year where you were so close. Although I will say this, that season ended so disappointingly. That your excitement for 2000, I'd say, does not match the excitement now, because for now the Jacks have been so bad that and by the way, they're here.
Yeah.
They are going to be good. They're the Bengals, Bills. They're those teams. The Ravens. They've got a great quarterback. They've got a good coach. They're going to be good for years. I mean, 8, 10, 12 years. We're going to have a nice run here. So I think that also pads the excitement, because you're not just thinking about the excitement of this year. You can almost think about the excitement of the Trevor era, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm most excited about, is my kid gets to grow up like with Trevor Lawrence as his imagine growing up in I'm not comparing Trevor to Tom Brady. It's a bad comparison. But imagine being a kid 8 to 10 years old and you get to have that run with Tom Brady and he's like your guy.
Yeah.
Like that's badass. And I'm not saying Trevor's gonna do that, but
imagine this city if they win a Super Bowl.
It'd be pretty freaking
Could you imagine?
I'm equally as excited about Doug Peterson as I am Trevor Lawrence.
He was obviously the perfect guy
for
this team.
I mean, I don't know if we lucked into hiring him or just how that worked out, because it was a kind of a weird process.
Thank God for
But
Urban Meyer.
Wow, did that work out for us?
Well, especially considering like names you heard rumored that may have been either offered or sued to accept the job. Well, there's 2 of them, and then Hackett now was close.
Yeah.
Look at that shit show that happened out in Denver, right?
Doug Peterson's a good golfer.
Yeah, I believe that. He looks like it too. He looks like he don't give a care about much of anything, man. Just throw that flip-flops and visor on and make it around town. Have you played with him?
No,
I just seen him.
I was playing in Thailand. I was playing with Jamie Lovemark.
Okay.
Somewhere, and we got to talking, and he goes, "Yeah, I was in your neighborhood the other day," and I was like, "What are you doing there?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm good friends with Doug Pederson."
Okay.
What?
I stayed with him. He goes, "Yeah, Doug's a really good golfer. He's like shoots right around par, maybe a couple over."
He's a big guy, man. You lose sight of how big some of these coaches are because the players they're surrounded with on the sideline.
Yeah.
But if you go up to Doug Pederson or his quarterback coach Mike McCoy, these are big dudes, man.
QB.
But here's the thing with Peterson last year, though. In addition to the play calls and pushing the right buttons schematically, football theory, all that, we've never had a better year of a coach being a sports psychologist than that guy. I mean, you want to talk about building trust in your team. Every time he told them something was going to happen, it happened. And he put himself out there for some ridicule. He can't – look – they went on the road and lost to Detroit and fell to like 3-5, soon to be 3-6, and they lost. They got just reamed. They weren't even competitive. And he went in front of his team and then in front of the media and said, "This is a one-off. I'm not worried about it." It's pretty bold, being 2 or 3 or 4 games under 500, and convincing your team first,
Yeah.
and then it proves right. I mean, that's going to have and he did this all year long. I mean, he did it early when they went out and won at the Chargers early. This is a good football team. He did it when they lost at Kansas City. That, hey, look, if this, and this happens, we can still play for a title. Also refreshing, right? One game at a time, one play at a time. Coaches act like they don't know what the scenarios are to get them to the playoffs. He took these guys at 4-7 and said, do this, this, and this.
Right.
And we'll be playing for the playoffs at the end of the year. And sure enough, they did this, that, and this, and they did. And so,
they had to feel so good calling it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's built a culture that people are excited to go to work, and I don't think we've had that. I mean, even when Coughlin was here,
it's a
players were complaining
different
about
mentality,
having to be there 15 minutes early, and it has great vibes.
I'll give you something else that can keep a coach a lot more friendly is the rules of the NFL. The rules of engagement in the NFL have changed. Tom Coughlin couldn't be popular. He'd put him through 3 days if he could. Mm-hmm. Those dudes were out in the sun popping pads, full pads, twice a day for weeks. Now they can't do that. There weren't a whole lot of beloved coaches back then because they busted your ass for the hottest month of the year.
Yeah.
So
Then you learn to love them after you're done playing.
Correct, 100%, right? But these guys today get a benefit of not, even if it were in their nature to run them into the ground, they can't.
Yeah.
Because NFL rules don't let them anymore.
Well, the successful team is listening to y'all's show pretty much every single day. Y'all's conversation has really shifted towards NFL away from college. It used to be, just Florida State, and now it's Jaguars content and it's PGA Live. And frankly, that's all I want to hear.
Well, that's you reading your audience. I mean, that's what this town is.
For
it's
sure.
A golf town and a football town.
For sure. And college football. And we'll it's got here. There's been a couple of
college
things.
football's just sucked lately.
Well, that's
the game the product has
FSU
sucked.
went dormant. Right,
Yeah.
They may come back. They might be set up for a good year this year. Florida has been just ass awful the last 2 years.
Hasn't it been too tough to follow? Like, you can't build a relationship with a player because he might be gone the next year.
It's definitely different.
Who's your favorite guy? Well, Jalen Hurts went to Alabama, then Oklahoma, and there's maybe a bad example, but just the NIL, the transfer portal, it has made the game just hard to follow.
Well, and that's across all college. I was thinking, we were talking today about an event that hardly anyone cares about anymore, the NBA draft. But you used to get at least a little bit excited for the NBA draft because what? Michael Jordan went to college for 3 or 4 years. Magic Johnson went to college for 3 or 4 years. Larry Bird went to college for 4 years. Danny Manning went to college. Christian Laettner went to college. By the time these guys hit the draft, you knew who they were, right? They were a known product.
Yeah.
You look at the projected top 10 in the draft tonight.
I know. I have.
At best, it's a cat that maybe played in a conference you followed and was there 1 year. Brandon Miller from Alabama.
Yeah.
Played 1 year. The rest of it, they're either European.
Hell of a shooter.
Yeah. They're either European or the G League, and it's kind of hard to get fired up for a bunch of the unknown.
I'd agree with that.
But again, you want to kill a podcast? Bring up the NBA draft.
Yeah.
That's what they bring me in here for.
All right, we'll move
I
on to golf.
have a question for you. How do you bring the energy every single day? You've been doing this a long time, dude. And
Other than the meth?
Yes, other than that. Other than that.
Very important. I switched from heroin to meth years ago.
You're on air at 6 a.m. every morning
Yeah.
for basically your adult life.
Feet on the ground
Yeah.
at what, 4 in the morning?
I get up probably about 3:30. I can't hardly sleep past it much. Probably 3:30, I guess. I get up and go and just start my. Not that it sounds a million miles different from a dude that gets up at 6:37, but it's really not.
High motor guy.
Well, my kids are grown and gone now too, so that makes it a lot easier. It's a lot easier now than it was juggling. I mean, Matt, you guys both know that. You got kids and all that entails. Imagine doing a 6 o'clock show and you got 2 5th graders and a 4th grader in the house. So it changes the dynamics of what you can do. I didn't have the luck. Back in the day, I can remember not that long ago, I'd sleep till 5:25, throw a hat on and out the door. Now I'm up at 3:30. I'm watching stuff, drinking coffee. My brain's working.
Is that what Hicken does every day?
Probably 6:30.
6:30, then throws a hat and goes?
Probably close.
Yeah.
Probably close. Oh, that hair doesn't move, so he doesn't need a hat. That guy could sleep in a quicksand, and his hair would look the same when he popped out of it. But a lot of caffeine in the morning. A big coffee drinker.
Do you
There's that.
You love it though too. You have
I love
to.
it. 100%. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Get paid
Yeah.
to do what we do, talk
Yeah.
sports. I mean, it's like basically I get up in the morning, hang out with a good buddy, talk sports for 4 hours, and then
Right.
and then go on your way, right? I mean, that's what most people do for fun in the bar, at the club, or wherever when they get off of work.
Yeah.
And so to have that I'm not big into the platform, or the message, or the influence.
Right.
I'm just into doing what we do.
You're in for the hang.
I'm in for the hang.
Yeah.
And I look,
Hot takes and a hang.
we're competitive like anyone else. You like to do something that people enjoy, and certainly you get a lot of, validation is probably not the right word, but yeah, there's a lot of pleasure that comes from people enjoying what you do. So we've tried to bring that attitude to it since we started doing sports radio probably 20 years ago now. We've been at 1010 for maybe 16.
Who's your favorite? This is going to only hit the locals, but who's your favorite call-in guest like over the years that is a regular that calls in?
What has happened to Matt Every? Was
No.
that the answer?
I was
Joe
know,
Yu.
I know.
Yeah.
It's clearly Joe Yu.
Tell me it's Joe Yu.
I think it.
I love that shtick, that back and forth.
100%.
Get him out of here. Hang up.
Joe would be Joe. Listen, here's what has happened to the show. And when we first started, it was 90s sports radio. Okay, Bill from the Beaches joins us.
Yeah.
Bill, what do you think about the Gators quarterback change? And then the idea, which first comes from managers, is like, hey guys, man. I mean, I'm not trying to fluff you here, but nobody's calling in to cares what Joe at the Beaches thinks. They're listening to the show because they want to know what you guys think.
Yeah.
Well, that's like that's not how we interpret what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so what has happened, the point of bringing that up is what has happened is we kind of went away from taking generic calls. Now, if there's like a percolating issue, right, there's something, then we'll have a day where we do that. So what has happened now is regular callers to the show aren't really regular callers anymore. They're characters.
Yeah.
They
Joe
are.
Yu is a character.
Yeah.
It's like Feinbaum.
Mr. Tennessee is a character. Ox Gator is a character. Skinny Bastard is a character, right? So, if there's probably a Rushmore, and probably any three of those four could rotate at one time. But I appreciate Joe for this. We can go at it, almost like Hicken and I can at times.
Yeah.
And it can get loud and it could sound hateful, and then it's,
The next
no
day
big deal.
he
Not
calls
even
in,
a
he's
mystery.
fine. Yeah.
Right. Cat's another one. Those two to me are like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
The old Jacksonville Cat
Yes.
and Joe Yu. Equally just asinine in what they say half the time.
So Joe Yu is this huge Miami Hurricanes fan.
Yes.
And
Didn't go to the U, by the way.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
He's
Just
from New Orleans.
get
isn't he?
kind of the Hurricanes in town. They get left out a little bit. You got the Seminoles,
For
and the
sure.
Gators, and the Jags.
And
They're-
Georgia now, too.
Yeah, exactly. So they're on
Those jokers have come out of the woodwork. I thought they all moved away. I mean, it's been 20 years.
But Joe Yu's also a huge Ricky Fowler fan.
Oh, man.
He dresses up like him when he plays golf.
I've seen it.
I got sent the picture this weekend. And then, by the way, he sends out a group text to basically that Murderer's Row that we just brought up. And he's more Ricky Fowler than Ricky Fowler was on Sunday.
That was always my favorite at events, is seeing grown adults in the full on
Oof.
Sunday Ricky outfit when he was younger. You
Right.
know,
Where are you on block fever? Did that run old with you pretty quick? Did you embrace it?
Yeah.
Sniffed it out
It-
pretty
Have
good.
we? This has probably been already. Has this been dealt with here on the
no,
pod
I
already?
don't know. Maybe. I mean, what are we removed from it? About a month.
Yeah.
I'm over it. See, to me, dude,
Hell of
the-
a story.
The biggest story is he's not a regular on tour, and he was 46 years old.
Yeah.
That's impressive. If this was a 26-year-old that was a club pro, it'd be impressive. Dude, this guy's 46.
Yeah.
That is very impressive what he did. However,
On a man-sized
However,
golf course, though.
he has also played
Oh, sure.
about 25 tour events.
Yeah.
This wasn't his
Yeah.
first rodeo. It's a badass story. It was a badass week, but I don't think it's like you can make a movie out
I
of it.
feel like if the PGA were a member guest, then they would be revolting against whoever Michael Block's member partner was. I feel like he went and just careered it to a level that he
Well,
could
he was
play.
definitely dialed in that
That's
week.
unbelievable because I've seen him do other things here and there, including play an event. I mean, we all watched what he did. Was it Colonial the next week?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, which
Yeah.
It's like a regular guy.
just, like
Yeah.
no chance of making the
was
cut. Seen
tough
him some
scene.
other places too. He does not look like
Does he
has-
have more starts lined up?
I do think he gets a couple more.
He's trying to
starts.
qualify for the
I think
for the
he'll
British.
get some sponsors invites. I mean, he got canes on his shoulder, so
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
so quick to cash in.
I loved it the week of, and then I start to feel like he also loved it the week of and continues
right,
to love it. It
right.
kind of tamps down the Cinderella story when
The hole-in-one, though, holy.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
It was almost too much. It was like, okay, this
How's
is
that-
scripted.
right.
Get out of here.
That's crazy.
The
You
up
kidding
and
me?
down on the last was ridiculous.
to get the
Elite.
to get the invite back again next year, right?
That's not happening. The whole that's not happening. That up and down on the last was ridiculous.
He'll go in the Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
a
of PGA
stupid
of America.
kid.
It was like 20 feet below. He was blind shot below the surface, sketch lie, all the shit on the line.
Was there any doubt he was missing that putt?
No.
No.
I
It probably had an idea that he needed to get up and down to get that
for
top
sure he
15,
did.
right?
Yeah,
By that
yeah.
point, he's relatively late in the tournament, so he probably had an idea.
I know he got set up a little bit by the question as well, but that podcast
Yeah.
he did with Kurt,
Yeah.
Yeah,
when he
that's-
said it was like,
It's
Yeah.
like my dad says that, man. If I had your
Right.
driving game,
If I were
be on the
6'6"
senior
guys,
team.
I would have played in the NBA.
if I played courses like they do, I'd shoot those scores.
Sure,
you know?
I think
If I
everyone.
played those conditions,
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's guilty of that.
He's
Oh,
still
sure.
riding that high, though. Good for him. I mean,
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it was easy to root for. I mean,
oh
listen,
no, I was rooting for him. Like,
if people have started to go cynical on him, that's fine. But I didn't appreciate some of the cynical that came right there that weekend because people jump quick, right? I
Yeah.
mean, social media is an awful place.
It sure
doesn't
is.
take long for him to, to gravitate to what wasn't the story. The story was that Cinderella.
okay, before we get you out of here, this
Yeah.
is gonna air in a week.
Okay,
Prediction time,
all right,
because we're gonna know the answer when it airs.
okay.
nice.
What's gonna happen?
See how good I am.
What's gonna happen to the people on the submarine?
Let's take a morbid twist. Real quick. Yeah,
I think we're still looking for him in
no,
a week.
here is the reality. The reality is from what we've kind of
Did you hear they heard banging noises?
yeah.
Stop.
Yes,
yeah, they
from an
did.
airplane.
Yeah, but did you also hear this?
Like an echo.
There's only
locator or
like
something?
12 submersive vessels in the world capable of diving to that depth, and none of them are in the North Atlantic.
Oh, really?
Which means
It's going
they
to take
can
forever to get
well,
there.
there is no forever. The air runs out in about 12 hours as we sit here.
Yeah.
And so even if they could pinpoint exactly where they were, they can't get them.
Even if they're bobbing on top of the sea right now, they're bolted in, so
Yeah.
they
Well,
can't
but if
get
they were
out.
bobbing on top of this, that's another. I looked at this. They have this huge. It's attached to this huge weight. That's what gets them down. And supposedly, if something happens, they should be able to disengage from that huge weighted base, and then they would float back up naturally. And that hasn't happened either. So
Would you? If
I
you
say the UFO got him. I mean, I'm not even kidding.
Hey,
They're
don't
sitting
even
in a
get me
UFO.
started
Right.
on that. Did you see that Las Vegas family where they
The
called
10-foot
in?
guy out
where
in
they
the yard.
where they didn't have a cell phone?
Whatever.
Come on.
I'm
In
not
this
buying
day and age, come on. Why isn't Dale Murphy in the Hall of Fame?
Oh man, you were trying to get me mad. I really, honestly,
We got a lot of time
this
left.
isn't Braves fandom speaking on this. I would say, because I would say the same thing. I'll give you another one. Roger Maris should be in the Hall of Fame.
Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, what is one of the three words in the Hall of Fame? I know Hall's
Fame.
in there. Fame matters, and I'm not saying you should get in because you have one singular.
If your mom knows who the guy is, he's
Roger
famous.
Maris set the and was also. I want to say back-to-back MVP. My point with Murphy is
Murphy
this.
was in back-to-back MVP.
He was
sure.
back-to-back MVP. He was the second most prolific hitter of the entire decade of the 80s behind Mike Schmidt.
Yeah.
End of story. There
Yeah.
is no argument. I'm amazed that his Hall of Fame candidacy never
You know who had the most
Never
hits
got-
in the 90s and isn't in the Hall of Fame? Mark Grace.
Oh, wow.
Why isn't Gracie in?
Yeah, that's a good one too. There's a lot and
So is this? And this is
Kurt Schilling should be in the Hall of Fame. That's a no-brainer.
agreed. So we were talking about this the other day. Like, who puts these guys in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, should
The baseball
Ry-
writers.
Okay, I know that,
Correct.
but should they be the ones voting?
I would not be
Because don't they have their whole career? Some of them could have an agenda.
A market agenda.
They say they have an agenda. I don't know where you guys land on this, and I think there should be some sort of statute of limitations on guys who break the rules if you can reasonably determine that if they hadn't broke the rules, they would still be great.
You're talking about like Barry Bonds.
I'm talking about Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Pete Rose. If you're telling me in the sport of baseball
Yeah.
that those aren't Hall of Famers,
Right,
I'm
they
telling
are.
you your Hall of Fame is.
Yeah, your Hall of Fame sucks.
It may not suck, but
Pete
and
Rose is a Hall of Famer.
And I get it. I get that those guys betrayed the game to a certain degree. But there ought to be a limitation, right? I mean, that shouldn't be a life sentence. You want to do it 10 years just to show them or whatever, but I mean, Roger Clemens, I think, won 7 Cy Youngs. Barry
Pete
Bonds
Rose
is
has had a scarlet letter on him. His whole
Oh, well,
they-
now his is worse than the steroids to me because he bet on his daggum team.
on it.
Yeah,
though.
but he
on
was
it.
a manager,
But
not
even
a player.
still.
Oh, I guess he was a player manager.
Yeah.
on it,
And I
On
will
it.
say this.
not against
Listen to me. I'll sit at a
listening.
table with you.
Okay.
Pete, if you believe that Pete Rose admits that he bet on the Reds and it's, quote, only on the Reds,
Yeah.
you're smarter than that.
I'm with you there.
Come on.
I don't know.
You know,
I would have
I
to go
wouldn't
back and
take-
watch
you know
the
what
tape.
degenerates
I would have to
gamblers
go
are.
back and watch the tape.
Yeah.
And see if
Yeah.
Charlie Hustle wasn't hustling.
Yeah.
What kind of
I'm
bookie-
not.
what kind of
gamblers
bookie?
are degenerates. When things go bad and they can control the outcome, they are going to do it, even if they can convince themselves, or because they convince themselves that it doesn't matter.
What kind of bookie is taking a bet from Pete Rose?
No, he had that. No, he had his flunky. Remember, like his roommate dude would do it too. I forgot what was that dude's name.
Reet Pose.
Remember the guy, the big guy with the mullet and the hair. And Pete Rose. Pete Rose is a trip. I met Pete. Pete Rose was in town in Jacksonville many years ago
Signing autographs.
for the Hit King. Remember the Hit King pizza? Anybody ever get a slice of
Yeah,
that?
I do remember what you're talking
Yeah, he
about.
put out some frozen pizza, Hit King pizza, and he came into town, and it was Pete Rose, just as you might imagine it would be if you met Pete Rose.
Love that.
Tolerable, not incredibly personable, not over the top a-hole
But
either.
if you sat there and probably asked him a question,
Sure.
he'd answer.
He
it.
would.
Yeah.
I also met back in the day, and it was a miserable experience. He was just a tired, old, just about dead, mean-spirited alcoholic was Mickey Mantle.
Really?
Yeah.
Which really hurt because Mickey Mantle's like my dad's,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence or whoever.
Yeah.
That was his, hero growing up, and he couldn't. Now again, it was late in life. He was here for something down on the South Bank. But I remember sitting down and going, "Ugh, that was Mickey Mantle, huh?
Right.
Just gruff,
One of
wouldn't
those.
talk."
You don't want to meet your hero.
I'll give you another good one. I was doing work for Comcast when they used to have Comcast Sports Southeast, and I did all sports. I would do Gator or Jaguar or other stuff. Well, they had something come up where they did not have they also did entertainment type stuff, and they didn't have it. And they said, sports guy could probably do this. So they call me up and they say, "Hey, can we fly you to Hollywood to do the movie junket for Blades of Glory?"
Oh, really?
Right? Yes.
A junket.
Yeah, you do the
Yeah, I
whole
love it.
went to the premiere and the red carpet, and you
junket.
sit. So I think that's what they called it.
You nailed it.
So anyway, so I do. I'd agree to
What
do it.
year was this?
This was probably
Early
like
2000s?
2011, 2010.
Okay.
Probably something like that.
Mid-aughts.
Something like that. I think I go 10 if I had to guess. But so they fly me out there. You stay in the Beverly Hills, Wilton Shire, whatever it is.
Wilshire,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're in the top hotel. We went to the premiere the night before, and then the next day they had it set up where you go back to the hotel and they got a whole floor mapped off, and then they got all the stars in different rooms, and you just kind of go down the line and you film these interviews with these actors, and they were all terrific. I mean, Will Ferrell and God, what's the name of that Napoleon Dynamite?
Will, is it Hader?
Hader.
Yeah.
John?
They were both. Yeah, John Hader. They were both great. Pam from The Office, Jenna Fisher, was in that movie.
I had a crush
She was
on her.
terrific.
Old pancakes.
Amy Poehler and Will Arnett were still married and did them together. Couldn't be nicer. Your boy. Is that his? I may
the
even go-
anchor man?
No, the guy, the coach. What's Coach's name?
Oh,
From the TV show Coach.
yeah. Craig
Craig
T.
T.
Nelson.
Craig T. Nelson. There is not a bigger asshole in the world
Wow.
than Craig T. Nelson.
Okay. Did he
Not
stop
Coach.
drinking late in life?
I have no idea.
Coach
I
Hayden?
would never get into that.
I feel
but
like a lot of older guys get
this
miserable when
guy
they
could
stop
not have
drinking.
been
When he stopped.
a bigger
Yeah.
jerk.
Coach Hayden Fox. Just
Hayden Fox. That's what I was going to call him. Hayden Fox. I really, I
Just
How good
didn't have
was
the
that?
time
just hey, buddy. This is not the first one of these you've done, right?
for you. Yeah.
And so it was like, I mean, and again, I'm not a Hollywood reporter. I won't pretend to be. But I'm smart enough that I could go down the line here from talking to like Tiger Woods and talking to Amy Poehler. Guess which one of those is more nerve-wracking, right?
Sure.
This is easy to me. And he was just so difficult and condescending and just, like I said, just a total ass.
Yeah, you're like, this guy's actually good at something. You're good at being somebody you're not.
I think I asked something I can't. There was a
Acting.
specific question that I thought was fine, and he just became like prickly and But that was a fun trip. It was interesting to do that.
That's
for
random.
Sure. That's how we got I don't even remember what brought it up. I think I made a point in there somewhere that can be referred back to here from a few minutes ago. But that's how we got like the Ron Burgundy shout out for the radio show that we play sometimes.
Oh, you got it
Ron
there.
Burgundy. Shout out to Dan and Jeff, is it right? One of those.
Oh.
Yeah. He did, so point being, he did that for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm out here doing this, hey, we're done. Of course, Will Ferrell was a fraternity brother of Tony Baselli's brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I used that.
He went to USC?
He went to USC.
Yeah.
And Baselli went to USC, and I use that. Don't kid yourself. Hey, we do a show with Tony Baselli. Blah, blah,
Oh, yeah.
blah. Can you
Right.
do this? Can you do this shout out for us?
I want to play
play the
golf
name
with
game.
Baselli one. Can we go play golf with him one day?
Yeah. Give me a call.
Yeah.
Sure.
How much golf are you playing these days?
Not enough. It's funny.
I heard you got dialed in with a new set. Too.
I did, and I probably haven't played in about a month.
What'd you get?
I got the 430s.
What are
The pings.
Pings?
Yeah.
Do you know that ping skipped over 420? It was like, I'm serious.
Marketer's dream.
410. Did they go 10 to
went- it went
25?
like
or?
15.
400. What did it went 400,
410,
410,
425.
425. Yeah. I mean, that driver, they would have been like a print shirt, that
For sure.
People would just buy it,
Yeah. Yeah.
How much are you playing these
Tell
days?
everyone what the 420 would be referencing, or would just let them do to their own
Whatever.
devices?
They probably know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Kids love 420.
They do. The kids love it these days.
It's a great screen handle name. Put it at the end.
Is there any 3-number combination in the world that appears in more screen handles than 420?
Probably not.
I can't think of one.
Yeah, I wouldn't suspect so either.
How'd you get into golf? See, I know you love it. And
You know what? I did let my dad played a little bit when I was a kid, and again, I grew up in Middle Tennessee, the Sticks, Redneckville, one golf course, and every once in a while he'd go play, and he'd let me just kind of tag along. I'd hit a few balls and do that, but I really started playing. My dad got transferred when I was going into 9th grade to Puerto Rico, and because he was getting transferred somewhere like that, there were a lot of perks. Right, the company they worked for gave you a membership at. It was Palmas Del Mar where we were, but Dorado, Saramar, there's a few different ones down there.
so you are a country club boy.
I guess in a way I maybe was, yeah. Except I mowed the
best
yard
kind.
to be able to pay the cart fees to play when I play. But other than that, just me and Jordan, exact same upbringing. And so I really got into it there in Puerto Rico because it was available, right? And not a whole lot else to do when you speak English and everyone else speaks Spanish for the first couple of years you're there. So I played a lot probably in high school. Mm-hmm. But I love it. I mean, obviously. I love to play.
Ever break any clubs?
I have broke a club before.
Yeah.
I've eased off big time. Dude.
I haven't broken one in a long time. My
Same.
best club story isn't about a break. It's about I once threw you probably played, it's probably been forever, but in high school maybe played Benton Creek out there on the west side.
Yeah.
You play that one. It was
Yeah.
run by the tour for a while. We are playing, it's a hard, tight hole. It's probably maybe like 16 or 17. It's a par 4 that goes back into the woods, and the woods end up boarding you on both sides. And I hit a bad shot with an iron, and I just threw my club up in the air out of frustration, and it went up into like this thick grove of pine trees and literally was lost. Like I couldn't.
Bye.
I couldn't. That's terrible. And by the way, this is also at an age where, Daddy couldn't just go buy a new club.
Yeah.
It was played without that club for a while, right? No, and I kept going back, and eventually it fell out, and someone found it. I ended up getting it, months later. The last time when I break a club, and I've done it a couple times, it's the head of the club. Mm-hmm. It's not from throwing a club. It's like getting mad and just kind of hitting the club on the ground kind of deal.
Yeah, you're better off breaking the shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what happened to me? It's my old set of clubs now, so I don't have to get it replaced. But this has never happened. I broke an 8-iron. The shaft broke just swinging it on the driving range.
Huh. I bet you.
Just for the wear and tear? Or?
No, I bet. I've had that stuff happen to me before where I would
On your back?
I'd kick my bag or something, and then
So it was weak
The
and you
next
didn't
time
know?
I pulled my 3-wood out, it just snaps
strange
in the
'cause I-
transition. That's probably has to do with something that happened before.
Yeah, maybe not, but that's a good one because it may not be a kick. It may just be a good, like a baseball swing into it with a 4-iron.
Yeah,
I might
if
do
you
that
whap
too.
it or with the gripping.
Well, what was odd about that, if that were the case, is that I was like on my 15th or 20th swing with it at that point. I've swung them and the club heads come off. That's usually with a driver,
That's
though.
a good way to get hurt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I got lucky. It happened in It may have happened in the backswing. I'm not even sure I got through the ball. I think it may have happened like when I transitioned. Even.
Hey guys, look, that's
Just went flying up in the air, and immediately though you're walking. And we played a really nice place in Canton. There's a guy who was from Jacksonville invited us to his.
I remember when y'all went up there.
So invited us to his club. So it was super nice. But when you walk away from the driving range toward your cart in the first tee and you're carrying an 8-iron in 2 pieces, you immediately have a reputation as a hothead.
Right.
This guy's breaking clubs on the range. My God, don't get within 2 holes of that guy.
I do love turning in my club to get repaired. Going into the
When's the
pro
last
shop.
time you broke one?
It's probably about 6 months ago, and I just chunked a chip, and I threw my 56 into the ground thinking it would stick, and it just vibrated and snapped right in the middle.
Yeah. I've done it with I'm bad about just giving it one quick tap on the ground, like a driver or a 3 wood, and so I've been through a few of those, but I haven't broken one out of like frustration, and the last one I did was a driver, and it probably wasn't as long ago as I'm pretending. Maybe 4 years. But then you get new clubs and you treat them nicer.
That's right.
Still searching for a driver though.
You need one.
I need one that works. Yeah, I need one that'll,
So do I. Let me know
I'm
if
not
you
getting any
find
younger,
one.
boss. I need one that'll just go out there, just give me out there 240, 250. I'm not asking to play with the bit. I'm not asking to back up to the tees. Just give me something that I can hit,
They're saying they're making driver easier to hit. I have not found it. I have not found an easier driver.
It doesn't happen to y'all. You're too good. But I had a certain Callaway brand that I hit like 6-8 years ago. I've never hit anything better, and then it just got cycled out. They don't make it anymore, and mine's used up or broke. It was a Razor Hawk.
Bro, I probably got one of those.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that club. I hit it by a mile better than any driver I've hit in my life. I prefer Callaway drivers overall. I just like the way it fits my eye. But that particular driver was a big-time strength of – and then how golf is, you know how when you're good at something, you suck at something else?
Yeah.
I could never hit an iron worth a flip, and now I finally have an iron game that
That's so true.
can at least,
Can't all be good at the same
compete,
time.
and now I've lost the driver. I mean, there's nothing worse than losing the driver.
Yeah, they're never it's so hard. Once you got one, you're like, even if you get the exact same shaft, exact same
It's
head.
just not the same.
It won't be the same.
It just won't.
Yeah. I was having a nice run in like maybe 2019, and I had this driver, and it was just wheelhouse for me. It was.
You
I
hit
could
Tyler's
feel
drivers?
that it was hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I was playing golf one day with my buddy somewhere here, and he wanted to hit my driver. He hit it. He swings slower. This is random. I hit it. I look at the face, and it's fucking cracked, and it was devastating. It was like, because I know I've been around long enough. I know it's. I don't.
You got to
give me
start all the way over again.
Same setup. It doesn't matter.
No.
It's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
It just always is.
Yeah.
You were looking forward to hitting that driver.
Well, I will at least give a crack with your old Razor Hawk.
Yeah, man.
Maybe it's not even exact same. I'm not having much luck with whatever it is.
We'll do it.
I could even. This is how frustrated I am with my driver, because I'm also a loyal guy. Like my putter, I haven't changed my putter in 20 years.
Really?
I never will. I mean, I've gripped it. That's it.
Yeah.
I like that play.
But the driver, buddy, well, if it starts misbehaving,
What kind of putter is it?
It's a Cameron.
Yeah.
It's a blade, pretty much.
It's a good play. I like just
All I can do is
sticking
putt.
it out with
Okay.
one putt.
Yeah,
I can't-
you do. You are a nice putter.
Yeah, if I didn't putt,
Remember that.
I'd shoot 90s. So putting makes me survive when all the other things have gone wrong. That usually cooperates.
Well, Pross, thanks for coming in.
I
dude.
appreciate
Yeah,
you,
man.
man. And by the way, Matt thinks I wore the clothes. I got some of the brand on today. He thinks I wore it because I was
I said
coming
you
in.
ain't got to wear
I
our
wear it
stuff
all the
'cause
time,
you're
man.
coming in.
Daily carry, right?
I wear it all the time. I love it. It's comfy. It's nice fitting. Look at see the plugs I'm doing here.
I love it.
Plugs I'm giving you.
More than
And
we
I
do.
bought these now. I mean, I bought one of these for Hicken and one of these for the boss. And now I'm even kissing ass before I get out of here.
Did Hicken get
diggity
you your
dog.
shirt yet? The national championship shirt?
He did.
He did. How's
I
it
just
look?
got it yesterday. Here's what's happened, and you guys know this. You mentioned I've lost about 25 pounds, so he
Oh, so
got me
it's
an extra
massive.
large, and it's too big.
Yeah,
which
you're probably a medium now.
I probably get away with a medium. I still prefer the large, but the extra large,
Dude,
which
you
I
need
wore in
to
T-shirt
just-
size forever, looks like a 10.
Yeah, don't lose any more though, bro. You're gonna start.
I'm not
looking
trying
sick.
to. No, I'm
there's
good.
a lot of pressure to keep the weight off once you lose it.
It hadn't been that hard, man. I have not changed that much.
If I were to
I don't
lose
feel
that,
like
I would start eating.
I
like
gave up
everything.
4 or 5 things that I had been eating my whole life that are terrible for you, and it was really hard for 4 or 5 months, and now that those things are out and I've replaced them with other stuff, I think I'll be all right. Like, I started on one of those carb kicks, right? Really super low carbs, and I did that to drop the initial weight. And now I find I can stay at the weight I want by, eating like crap for a day or two and then not doing any, working it off for 3 days and not eating anything. And I would rather do it that way than, eat pork rinds and celery sticks, which is the carb way.
I hear it. Pork rinds are good, though.
I love pork rinds.
Thanks
I'm
again,
down
dude.
with them.
You're the best.
You betcha. Appreciate
Do it
it.
again.